Hello and welcome once again to the TryPod, and this week we have a very special Prelim Pod.
Lego!
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get back together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room. I realized it's all my fault, but couldn't tell you. Yesterday, you've forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Val, and I don't think we will be saying sorry for last week. We had a bit of a rough one, but 1 week till the finals, and it's going to be an absolute cracker. This week we've got the prelims, obviously, and joining me is my good friend Jacob. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm well, thanks. Nice of you to call me a good friend.
Yeah,
always treat me
sometimes
that way.
I lie.
We're not sorry about a 136 to 84 record against 50-50 lines. We give out line bets every single week. We break down the games.
And that's over 60%, which is unheard of in the betting world, essentially.
That's right.
And we give them out all for free. So.
And as we've said, some people have been with us from the start. We're getting new listeners every week, but if you started with $100 and just played our best bets, you're up over $5,000.
Yep.
And last week wasn't one of our winning weeks. We had 2 best bets. They both needed the Bulldogs in one form or another.
Way or another.
And mate, we spoke about how we liked the Bulldogs backline. There was virus concerns. There were some horrendous refereeing decisions, to be honest.
The problem was the news about the virus only came out after the pod, and then we heard about that, and we thought, oh crap, if we would have known this on Wednesday, we probably wouldn't have played it, but obviously we give out all our tips on a Wednesday. And I really do think there was something going on, because they really fell flat in the second half, and it may have been because of the virus, but it may have been because of also the worst refereeing decision in history.
Yeah, look, I could speak about a whole pod length on that.
Yep.
Generally, as a rule, when every single commentator and every single person who's ever watched rugby league says it's not a try, generally it's not a try.
Yes.
I don't know what is going through the head of these guys. We can say it didn't decide the match, and look, I think the better team won. I'm happy enough to see the Roosters through. But I don't want a grand final to be decided on just absolute, amateur hour.
Decisions.
Yeah. And you're right, there was injury or illness cloud over the Bulldogs that had a virus. I called my mate Heathy up. He's dealt with a lot of viruses and infections in his time. He said, look, when it comes to the big game, you can still fight through it. And look, just back yourself. And we did. And we said we liked the Bulldogs to put up a few tries. We were going to play them over 2.5 tries, but we found the line of 12.5 as a team total. 12.5 points is lower than 2.5 tries. You're only to win 2.5 tries, you're going to need to score 3 tries. If you score 3 tries, you're going to get over 12 points.
Correct.
Or at least so we thought.
Yes.
They had 3 different clowns had to kick a goal that was like under sixes. Who wants a shot?
And then the last one, when our bet is on the line, James Graham says, I don't even care if we kick the conversion, and we're sitting there on the edge of our seats. But let me just tell you this. That is the magic of betting. You can have a team that's totally out of the game and still be on the edge of your seat, just like we were when we had over 12.5 with the Bulldogs, and we were counting on that last kick that he kicked into the crowd on the 4.
That's right. We had Bulldogs over 12.5. They scored 3 tries. They missed 2 from within 5 metres of the post, including a front rower having a shot. And look, it lost by half a point. And as you say, that's betting. Wasn't such a magical feeling.
But it is entertainment.
Yeah, and look, I'll tell you a bit more about my Roosters thoughts when we break down the huge clash this week. Friday
It's going to be absolutely massive.
You said, 2 days' time.
We're going to be there.
Yeah, that's right. TryPod will be at the game in attendance.
It's going to be great.
What about Saturday night? How did you see that one?
Oh, goodness me. Well, Saturday night, it was a great night. So I obviously, we did like the Cows. I had a bit of my own money on the Cows. And look, most of the Saturday night was spent in a little bit of a haze. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, look, we're in an inebriated state. And we did say that we loved the Cowboys there. We weren't taking any part of Cronulla.
No.
Up in Dairy Farmers, fully healthy. That side, I said myself, at $6 odds, they're the team to beat to win the comp. I really thought everything shook out so well for them. The side of the draw they fell on.
Half.
It's a superb team. And I'm just,
they were just clinical.
If anything, I'm disappointed that they showed everyone else how good they are, because I think we already knew that. And pod listeners already knew that in our minds, maybe the Cowboys are the best team left.
I'd say if they didn't
factoring in health.
If they didn't blow out the Sharks 39-0, and I know some people's bets were hinging on that because the total was 38.
And I had a bet of Cowboys to score the most points of any team on the weekend.
Oh, nice.
And I thought the Cowboys would definitely win. I didn't love the Roosters. I saw that as a lower scoring game. And the Roosters put up 38. And I thought, I'm probably shot here. The Sharkies are going to put into a grind.
$6 odds at that point.
But no, happy to cash that one with 39.
Yeah, that's massive.
So, you win some, you lose some for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd say if the Sharks would have put up a bit of a better fight in that game, I think the Cowboys Storm game would have probably been about pick, I reckon. But now the Cows are slight favourites. But we'll talk about that game a little bit later.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely, we can. And look, something new we're going to do for you guys, as well as obviously breaking down the 2 prelims, is we're going to just break down the AFL as well. We've got a little bit of inside info, and we've got lads with their finger on the pulse down in Melbourne.
They do.
And,
absolutely.
2 big AFL games, and there's money to be made, and there's specials out there. And we'll give you a bit of advice on the AFL prelims as well. But first, let's get an early word in from our sponsor.
Sanity is now on Facebook. Like the page to gain access to free downloadable mixes and stream Night Tremors radio from any connected device. Sanity, proudly supporting the TryPod NRL betting podcast.
Yeah, good on you, Sanity. And he has been getting a lot of positive feedback, it's probably fair to say.
Oh, he's been doing great work, times. And we were all out in force on the Saturday night, so he was out there.
And he certainly was in force. And check him out. He's got a Facebook page. And look, he gives you night tremors and he goes for 45 minutes.
Yes.
And that's just not him saying that. That's been independently verified that he will go for up to 45 minutes.
Yep. He's very solid. He puts in the effort and reaps the rewards.
He certainly does. And he'll get into positions that, are sometimes considered unorthodox for a first time, He's willing to do that. And
absolutely.
He's willing to
flexible.
He's flexible, absolutely. Yep. And there's been no complaints so far from anyone that's checked him out.
Absolutely not.
And I've heard
all positive feedback.
I've heard his music mixes are pretty good too.
Yes. So we've heard.
Okay, mate. What's your read on the AFL finals? Obviously,
do not talk to me about the AFL.
Look,
I'll be perfectly honest here. I watch the AFL every now and then when there's nothing else on TV, but I don't love it as much as you do. So you've got the inside word here, but I know a fair bit. I've made a little bit of money betting on the AFL, but. Don't have the lines actually in front of me. You've sprung this on me. I did not know we were going to be talking about the AFL.
I wanted to talk about AFL. I think there's some people listening right now who aren't AFL fans, and maybe you can learn something that we can tell you. We admit ourselves that we don't know as much about AFL as plenty of other people out there. I've made a bit of money betting AFL this year, especially taking advantage of the promotions. But I haven't made a single bet this year without consulting with our man, Tom.
Yep.
He does know because
everything.
I can look at a line and I can say, geez, that looks wrong to me. I feel like Fremantle should not be such a high price there.
Yep.
But I can get in contact with Tom and he'll tell me, it's good pickup, but that's actually because, their star Nathan Fyfe
the personnel master.
Is suspended and, another bloke, Ballantyne, is injured.
Yep.
And, you need to know about the spots, and we can break it down from a handicapping point of view, but you also need to know about the personnel. So look, you might learn something about AFL here, or if you are already an AFL fan, you probably know more than us, but you might be interested in what we've uncovered. On Friday night, you've got Hawthorn versus Freo. That's in Perth. Seems to be what I've picked up from the AFL, that playing over in Perth is such a big advantage for the home side. I mean, the time difference, they talk about whether the players who are travelling,
big trip to make.
Can get up for what's kind of like an early start for them. The Dockers started the season just docking everybody. I think they're something like 13 straight wins to start the season, and everyone
started to forget about them a little bit.
I got them at 9-1 to win the comp. And that was looking good. But then Hawthorn came out of nowhere, were blowing everyone out. You couldn't make the line high enough for Hawthorn. In fact, Sportsbet paid out Hawthorn as premiers in about round 19.
Yes, which is just madness.
Crazy. I mean, I think they did it as much for promotion as anything else, because even no matter how good Hawthorn were going, they were always going to have to win a prelim and a grand final against some good sides. They were never a shoe-in to win the comp.
Definitely.
And they've actually lost 2 or 3 times since then, including losing in Perth 2 weeks ago to West Coast, and that was not even that close.
No, it wasn't at all.
It was a 30 or 40 point loss.
That was an easy loss,
But Hawthorn, they got rolling again on the weekend, didn't they?
Yes.
They blew out Adelaide.
Yep, they did, absolutely.
An Adelaide team that's had a mixed season. Look, I can't, name too many of the players.
Adelaide coming off an absolutely massive win, a very emotional win, so that was always going to be a little bit of a letdown spot
that's
there.
It.
So.
Now everyone's back on Hawthorn. Look, I'm just going to say I really feel that the value is with Freo, and I've consulted Tom on this, so I don't want to step on the toes of his article or his post that he'll put up probably tomorrow. But look, he likes Freo as well, and I love a rested team. They've had 2 weeks. weeks. Let's not forget that Freo rested their whole roster in round 24 as well. So that team is, as fresh as a daisy.
Yep.
And they're sitting at home. They're catching anywhere between 9 and 11 points. And Hawthorn, everyone knows Hawthorn are good. Hawthorn won the comp last year. I just feel, if anything, they're overvalued. They're not unbeatable. They've lost twice in the last few weeks. I'd be looking at Freo there.
Yep.
And look, just on that, we want to try and find advantages wherever we can. There's less games. Look, I've even got inside word from another close friend of ours who's a real follower of the VFL, which is the second tier AFL. Now, the VFL Grand Final is on Sunday down in Melbourne. Now, I can't remember who's playing against Box Hill, but you've got two club sides. But Box Hill is the feeder or the reserve grade for Hawthorn. So basically, if Hawthorn are to win on Friday night, we may have a situation where they know they're in the grand final, in the actual AFL grand final, and they may rest a few of their better reserve players just to make sure they've got the healthiest possible team to play in the following AFL grand final, and they could basically sacrifice the result. On the other hand, if Freo gets up, then we might see a super strong Box Hill. In fact, I've been told that they're shoo-ins. If they play a full-strength side, they're winning on Sunday, and they're at about $1.70 right now. So that might be something we can give out.
Keep an eye out.
Saturday night, not often you see a team that's $5 odds in a prelim, and that's the Kangaroos, and that's again a team that's quite well rested. They rested their stars in round 24.
And an impressive win last week.
Yeah, and they play like a real tough, grinding type of footy. West Coast, slightly probably a younger team, a faster, more athletic team, but not much finals experience, West Coast. What I'm hearing from our boys in the know as well is that you probably want to be on the Roos at least with the start.
Yep.
You can get 31.5 points. And
that's big for a prelim final, isn't it?
It is. And I'm going to be sprinkling a bit on the Roos there, because I've seen they've actually beaten West Coast in West Coast this year. Or they've beaten West Coast. Can't remember where it was. But look, they can compete with the best. They beat Sydney. I know Sydney had a terrible end to the year.
Yes.
But look,
I'm
going
to
be looking at the Roos. And look, I just love watching sport. And all I'm saying is there's promos out there.
Yep.
You want to have a punt, you want to have a multi. That's our take on it, and we're happy to chat about any best bets of any sport with people.
Yeah,
we've even had posts about Rugby World Cup.
That's true.
And everything, and maybe we can talk about that.
Not as many NRL games, so you've got to watch something.
Exactly right. There's only 3 NRL games to go this season. It's kind of sad.
It is a little bit sad.
On that note, mate, let's preview the monster clash at Suncorp this Friday night.
It's going to be an absolute ripper, isn't it? So the good old Brisbane Broncos, they're hosting the Roosters. Who would have thought? Everyone was picking this to be the grand final match, but looks like they're going to be meeting a little bit early this year. So we've got the Bronx getting plus anywhere between 2 and 2.5 points, depending on where you shop around, and the total sitting at 36.5. We're going to be at this one.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be a raucous crowd. Brisbane has exceeded our expectations again and again.
Yep.
We've had an awesome year. We've won more than 50 more than we've lost on our best bets, but we've actually gone against Brisbane a lot of the time this year. We would have been wiser to have more faith in Bennett and his troops. He's brought in just a ridiculously intense defensive mentality to this team, because it's a similar personnel group that we've had the last couple of years, and our team wasn't this good.
And they were
certainly Ben Hunt has taken a step up, and Milford has been almost immeasurable in what he brings.
Just every single team that Bennett seems to get, they all just play really hard for him. I heard Thaiday in an interview this morning, and he was just saying that their training sessions are so much harder this year. They're really fit, they're really prepared, and they're well rested for this game, obviously,
and that's
coming off the bye. So.
And at this point in the season, it is so much about health and who you can put on the park, and as we said, it's a war of attrition, and that's why that bye, that week off last week, is so valuable. I mean, you look at the Sharks, I think they had no chance of winning that game in Townsville, but Valentine Holmes picked up a bad cork in the Bunnies game, and I was worried about that, but they said he'd be right to play. He clearly wasn't.
He's
the Sharks' best outside back, and that's the price you pay when you've got to win the grand final the hard way, and you've got to play 4 straight finals matches.
Exactly.
And Brisbane have had the luxury of 2 weeks to prepare for this. Brisbane has barely put in a bad performance all year. They've been so consistent. Even in Origin, when they were missing 6 or 7 stars, they were still winning games, because this team just turns up every week. So I know for a fact the Broncos are turning up on Friday night, and they're going to take it to the grindhouse.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, yeah. And as you said, coming off the bye, they're well rested. And this is, you got to say this isn't the same Roosters team that we're used to seeing that was just rolling through teams during the middle of the season and towards the back end of the season. I know Pearce is coming back, but to be perfectly honest with you, Hastings has slotted in perfectly into that position. He's been playing some great footy, and now Pearce is going to come back. He's going to be a little bit rusty, and as we've always said, when you get a really good player coming back for that first week, everyone thinks, oh, they're right back to where they are. But to be honest, it does take a little bit of match time to start to gel again in there. Obviously, Hargraves is out. This isn't a full-strength Roosters side. This is a full-strength Broncos side coming off a bye, well-rested, at home. We've got to look back, I think, to the regular season, towards the back end of the regular season. The Roosters hosted the Broncos. I think the line was about 6 points.
Yeah, you're right.
Now we've flipped this around with the Broncos coming off the bye, which we think together is probably worth about 2 points from a line perspective. And then they're also hosting the Roosters, so this line seems a little bit off. Only, the Broncos are getting 4 extra points, basically, and, essentially at home and off the bye. I think this is a really great spot for them.
Yeah, I was going to make that exact point. And look, we're going to talk the Roosters down a little bit now, which sounds wrong, but that's how you make money betting sports. You've got to take a kind of a contrarian opinion to what the public's saying. So 12 weeks ago on the pod, we were the ones telling you that Roosters team was stacked and that Roosters team was the best team in the competition. And we were the ones putting money on them at 7-1 to win the minor premiership, okay? And that was when people hadn't realised just quite how good they were. Blake Ferguson had only just come back from injury. The team had a few players playing Origin.
I remember the week. It was the week where they beat the Titans 20-10, and everyone said that was an absolutely horrific performance. This isn't a grand final contender. When everyone's saying that, the media's just blowing you up to be absolutely shit house. That's the time when you have to step in.
And since that point, they won 12 straight games, and it actually became, and we said it each week, they were becoming overrated. And it got to a point where they'd won so many times that people actually had an overinflated opinion of them. And I raised the issue just before they played the Storm that are they the same Roosters team that's been winning all these weeks? Because there's no Pearce, there's no Warrior Hargraves, and they blew out Manly, but that Manly team had already packed their bags for holidays.
They were done.
They blew out the Bunnies, as we saw. The Bunnies were mailing in their last few games.
They got blown out by the Sharks.
They played the Storm in Sydney, and the Storm beat them.
Yep.
The Storm turned up, and the Storm beat them. And then they played the Dogs last week, and they did roll, but it wasn't the Dogs' best performance.
Let's be honest, that call changed
that decision changed the
complexion
match.
of the game.
We had the Dogs unable to make a kick. We had the Dogs definitely appearing to suffer from a virus because they could not run in the final half hour of that game. So everyone thinks that the Roosters have just had, played well the last 4 weeks, but is that really the case? I think Brisbane is the perfect type of side that can just get them in an arm wrestle and really cause them trouble.
And we've been talking about situational spots all year, and this is the one.
Yes, that's right. I really like the fact that Brisbane is rested. Look, my one concern about Brisbane is that although they defend their line so well, they do let teams play the game in their 20. Mm-hmm. They really do let teams get a lot of metres. And if Roosters have one greatest strength, it's probably their ability to absolutely roll in the ruck. The Roosters make 60 metres off a set like nobody else. But I think that the Broncos are going to have a really smart game plan. They're going to watch what the Storm did, and they're going to definitely try and dominate the ruck and dominate play the ball and slow it down.
Their kicking game's going to have to be on point, I think.
To slow the Roosters. Yeah, and they are going to have to kick well. I see an absolute grind. I see a super close game. I see teams taking the 2. I don't see a lot of tries. But ultimately, I'm going to be taking Brisbane plus 2.5 because it is the value side in a game that could easily be decided by 1 or 2 points. As you said, Brisbane was 6-point underdogs down in Sydney. That was against a full-strength Roosters. They're not full-strength this time around. It's not in Sydney, and the Roosters and the Bronx are off a week's rest. So we definitely want to take plus 2.5. We also want to play the Roosters under the try line of 3.5. I really like that because although the Roosters have explosive backline players, I can't deny that backline. It's superb. But they will be taking the 2 where they can. They're going to be kicking every conversion. They're going to be playing conservative, trying to keep the ball. And I don't think they're going to get 4 tries against what's probably the best defensive outfit in the comp. So I really like that.
Agreed.
But I'll go a step further. I think behind a raucous crowd, I think we want to play Brisbane over their total. Well, you just worry with Corey Parker kicking. In fact, I think the better option may be the Brisbane try line. Yeah,
that's the only thing. We've said this in the past when you have, I guess, you got to look at the points and the tries and sort of figure it out yourself. I mean, usually, what do we say? A try is worth roughly 5.5 points, kicking at 75%. But that does change when you've got a kicker like Corey Parker in, who's not the greatest kicker in the comp. So with the Broncos, we do like to, if we want them to go over the points, over their team totals, we like to take the try line. So I'm seeing a 2.5 out there. So I'm more than happy to take that.
Yeah, look, the most common number of tries that teams score in a game is 3 in finals matches. The total tries is always around the 6 or 7 mark in a finals game. I think Broncos can get 3 tries, if not more. I'm tipping a Broncos win. It's funny. I think guys like Corey Parker, who was sensational in Origin this year, Sam Thaiday.
Yep.
Gillette's a different story. Gillette is just a class player. But Thaiday, Parker, look, they're at the back 9 of their careers. But that week off is going to do them a world of good.
Definitely.
This Roosters team has more younger superstars like Kane Evans, Takeahu, Boyd Cordner, Guerra. It's a team that's set up for the future. But right here, right now, this Broncos forward pack can absolutely compete. Our halves can compete. Our outside backs aren't as flashy, but they defend really well. And I still have faith in guys like Corey Oates, Jack Reed. I'm tipping the Bronx to make the final. I think they're going to win.
Yep, absolutely.
We've given out 3 best
bets on that one.
Our biggest ever game breakdown. But I mean, we're at the business end of the season.
Definitely.
We know our Bronx pretty well. We've got to give the people what they want.
Let's face it. It could be 3 tries each, it could be 16 all, it could be 18 all coming into the last 10 minutes of the game, and you're sort of there trying to slot field goals here and there. Broncos aren't great at it, but even Roosters win by 1, Roosters win 19-18, you win all 3 of those bets. So go ahead and play that. And just one more thing, I've got a mega bet. For this weekend.
Yeah, mate.
You want odds of $9.35 on a singular bet. Here it is.
Yes, I do.
Roosters to win the first half, Broncos to win the game. And here's my reasoning. Broncos are fully rested. Roosters have had a brutal couple of weeks, obviously. The Bulldogs game last week was absolutely brutal. So was the Storm the week before. They're going to come out firing, but that's going to catch up with them come the second half. And the Broncos are going to come out fresher in the second half. Roosters hopefully bring a small lead into the first half, and then the Broncos run over the top of them at the end. But for $9.35, can't go past that one. So that's the mega bet.
That is really good value, especially when you know it's going to be close. It's not like one team's going to take a big lead.
Absolutely.
And look, speaking of looking impressive last week,
yes,
that certainly was the Cows. You ready to break down the second prelim, mate?
Let's break down the Cows and the Storm. The Storm hosting the Cows. Cowboys are 1.5 point favourites, with the total sitting at 37.5.
And I've seen some 2s out there as well, depending on which team you like. But you should like the Cows. Look, we said before that the Roosters, have had a couple of grinding matches. Mm-hmm. They certainly have. The Cowboys, not so much. We've said that the bye is such a big advantage, and it is. And man, it was a massive advantage for the Storm.
Definitely.
If we talk about the Storm first, they did exactly what they needed to do to get the result in Sydney. Mm-hmm. As we said, they're the smartest team. They're the best coached team in the comp, compared to a rookie coach for the Cowboys. Yes. Look, that is an advantage, no question. The rest is an advantage. Korobidi and Jordan McLean were both not expected to make this game. They've both been able to recover with that week off. Look, that's all, playing into the Storm's hands. But the simple fact is that the Cowboys are just a far better side. The Cowboys are just sensational. And I said this year, the Cowboys started the season 0-3, a bit wonky. They won about 10 or 11 in a row.
Yep.
They lost once when they rested Thurston.
Mm-hmm.
They had another little funk towards the end of the year where Thurston was banged up, where Morgan was injured, Tarmel was injured. They played some tough games.
Yes.
Other than that, they haven't really lost.
No.
And they lost in week 1 of the finals in a tight game against Brisbane, in Brisbane, with Morgan definitely still hampered.
Yep.
But when I see this team hum, man, there's no one better than the Cowboys. They just can put on points like crazy. They look unstoppable. I mean, we all know that JT is the best player on the planet.
Yep.
But what Morgan has been able to do is just so threatening. He's just, with his speed, he just threatens the line. He's a threat to break the line every single play, but he can also throw that perfect pass.
Yep.
The forwards, I mean, Tarmau's had a better year this year. Matt Scott's been sensational. Taumalolo's found a new level. I love some of the guys that do the dirty work, like Cooper, Ethan Lowe, even Asiata is such a skillful forward off the bench. It's the best bench, in my opinion, in the comp now as well. It's just such a complete team. Look, I know that they're going to have a lot of confidence and they're going to be riding high off of their Sharkies win, but it's deserved confidence. in the regular season, you don't like betting on a team that looked awesome and played really well the week before necessarily, because they might be a bit fat, drunk, and happy.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
it.
be a bit too complacent.
Yeah, it's a different story.
The Cowboys are not going to be complacent. They played down in Melbourne about 6 weeks ago, and they lost 20-4, and that was a game with no Morgan, with no Tarmow. They know what to expect.
Yep.
They know that this is their chance. They can win the comp. They can get JT another ring, but one as captain and one as a starting halfback, as opposed to the one he won off the bench for the Bulldogs, which must have been 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was 10 years since the Cowboys made the grand final, and it's 20 years since they came to the comp. There's some nice symmetry there. I think they're going to win the comp. I definitely think they're going to win this game. Of course, I want to lay the 1.5 points, mate.
Yep, I totally agree with you.
And I'm looking at the Cowboys team total as well, because I think the game total's 36.5. Of course, it's low.
Yes.
As all finals games are. But man, this Cowboys backline they're halves, and and the ascendancy they get from their forwards, they can just put on points. It's going out of fashion.
And especially with the big confidence booster last week. I mean, that first game of the finals that they had with Morgan just coming back, it took a little while for them to gel, but now they are absolutely humming. And when those two are on, they are some of the most deadliest. They are the deadliest combination in the NRL. Now, if the forwards can match it with the Storm, which I think they definitely can, then they're just going to have too much firepower for them. So I do like where you're going with this. I like to take the Cowboys team total over, and I do like to take the points because Thurston's an absolute gun kicker.
Yeah, and look, you can find the total anywhere between 17.5 and 19.5. Now, 18 is a key number because JT rarely misses kicks. If you get 3 tries and you can get to 18 points, the best value I can find is on Sportsbet. And look, we've heard the fans, we've heard your feedback. People are sometimes asking us, where are you finding all your best bets? You know, they want it spelt out to them. So in the last couple of weeks, we've started telling you exactly which site has this line, which site has this price. And we will post that when we post our best bets.
And we'll chuck the sign-up links up there as well, so if you don't have that site, just click on there, and then you can get every
And the
bet
best value I'm finding
so.
for the Cows, go to Sportsbet, and you can find them under or over 18.5. And that's actually paying, I think, over $2 odds. That's an underdog. Or you can get them over 17.5, and that's a slight favourite. There is no $1.90 line on this. The true total is probably 18. But no one's offering that 18. They often like to offer it with the half point.
That's
now,
right.
as I said, with 18 being such a key number that teams do often land on, I think the Cows will be over 18. But I would prefer to sacrifice a little bit of value and take the over 17.5.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then you've just got that extra safety there.
And there are times that we do like to buy down, from the actual line itself. We'll let you know from now on when we're going to do that, but especially when you've got going through a key number like 18, like 6, 12, 18, those sorts of numbers, buying back down through them, as long as it's not too much that you're giving up, we suggest you do that.
That's right. So there's the second best bet. We're going to take the Cows over 17.5, and as we said, we don't always ourselves, although we give out 50-50 lines. Sometimes you can make more money playing a slight variation. And I'll give another perfect example here. The Cowboys are minus 1.5. You can get that as $1.92. Okay? But you can also find the Cowboys just to win at $1.83. I actually prefer that. It's pretty similar, and I do think the Cows win by more than 1.5. So you might be saying, well, why not get that extra 9 cents? But geez, you're going to feel a lot safer if there's 15 minutes to go and the Storm have turned it into a grind, and it's it's 18 all.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know that JT has so much confidence he can slot a field goal and that they can hold him out. You're just going to feel a lot better. Whereas if depends which betting sites you've got, if the best price you can get on the Cows is $1.75,
which it is on some sites,
then I prefer to take minus 1.5.
Absolutely.
So it all depends on that trade-off of value versus return on investment expectant result.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But definitely, depending on which sites you've got, my advice is if you can get over $1.80 on the Cows, just play them to win. Don't be greedy. Because anything can happen in finals footy.
That's right, and you don't like sweating it out in those last 10 minutes, especially when you're drunk out. But also, I think the Cowboys are going to roll here, to be perfectly honest with you. So the Storm, not a lot of attacking power. I know that they've got Korobidi back, which is a huge bonus for them. But to be honest, I don't see where they're going to be scoring that many points from. And you can find the Storm try line at under 3, which means that they have to score 4 tries or more for you to lose that bet. And we love doing those ones. It's not often that you find a flat 3 or a flat try line around, but when you do, it's just that little bit of extra safety. If they're going in, I think they could be going into the last 10, 20 minutes with only 1 or 2 tries. So then you're sitting there, you're pretty happy that you're not going to lose your bet. Worst case scenario, you'll get your money back. So I think we should take that one as well.
Yeah, I'll disagree in the sense that the Storm don't have weapons. I actually love the Storm backline. Will Chambers found another level this year. Cooper Cronk is still a top 3 player in the league. Smith was superb last week. Korobidi, as we said. Duffy's such a threat in the air. And Munster has really been sensational as well. Good. But I don't think the Storm will score many points because I don't think their forwards are going to be able to dominate at all. I just think the Cowboys will be too clinical. We saw the Cowboys hold the Sharks to 0. We've seen the Cowboys in multiple games when they just decided to flip a switch. Yep. They can put on 30, 40, 50 points.
Yeah. Just
unanswered.
like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's the main reason. I don't think that the Storm forwards, and the Storm know that they're don't have as much talent on the park as the Cows, and they're going to come with a game plan, rest assured. And they're going to probably try and just dominate the ruck. They're going to give away penalty after penalty. They're going to slow the Cows down. They're not going to allow the Cows to open it up, or that's what they're going to try to do. But ultimately, the talent's going to win out in this game. JT is going to win out. And that's why, I think it's pretty safe. I think worst case scenario, the Storm might get over for 3 tries, and that would just be a push. You're still not losing your bet. So I like that one as well, and that makes 6 best bets.
6 best bets.
2 prelim games. You can't ask for more than that, can you?
I like them. I like it this week.
Do you want to just recap them?
Yeah, definitely. So on the Friday night, we've got the Broncos plus 2.5. We've got the Broncos to go over 2.5.
And so, say it now, that's on tab. That's the best line is on tab.
Yep, perfect. So we've got the Broncos over 2.5 tries. And those are actually, and the Roosters under 3.5 tries, and those are both on Bet365. We've got the Cows minus 1.5 at $1.92.
That's at numerous places. I've seen that one on Crown Bet. I've seen it on
Sports
Tab,
Bet.
on Sports Bet.
It's readily available there. So if you like the Cows, hop onto one of those. You should have multiple betting sites anyway. But we've got the Cows over 17.5, as we said. That's on Sports Bet. And we've got the Storm under 3 tries, and that's
on Lux Bet.
Yeah, it's on numerous locations as well. But Lux Bet's our favourite one for the team total. So
Lux Bet, that's
that'll be the 6 and the Mega Bet. Lux Bet $9.35. Roosters half-time, Broncos full-time.
While we're giving out a bit of extra higher price, I've actually got one for you guys.
Here we go.
For the Cowboys, you gave one for the Broncos Roosters. Just an idea for the Cowboys Storm, and I've played this myself. You can link the line and total double. The line is 1.5, as we said. The total is 36.5. I'm going to play a multi of the total over 36.5 and the Cowboys minus 1.5. And I'm going to do that because I think there could be a few points in this game. Both teams have good backlines, and I think if it opens up and if there's a lot of points, it's all the more reason that the Cows will win.
Yep.
So I think those 2 bets are correlated. You can get $3.60 odds on that, and I think if the Cowboys are going to win, it's probably not going to be a grinding style that the Storm want to play.
Yep.
It's going to be more open. They're going to get over that total, and they're going to score. Well, they're going to outscore the Storm by 2 or maybe even a few more than that.
I like it, and that's going to be around $3.50, $3.60.
It is, yeah. You can get $3.60, and that's on a few different sites as well.
Perfect.
There's also some sweet promos. We got $2.50 favourites last weekend.
And the weekend before.
Yes, and I think both weekends, 3 out of 4 favourites won.
Correct.
So, you're definitely making easy money playing all these $2.50 favourites.
Yep.
We've said there that we're not tipping the Roosters. I suspect that Freo could beat Hawthorn, but the fact is, just take $2.50 on all the favourites,
and
you can always bet the other side, and then you've actually got guaranteed winnings.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, figure out what you're going to do after that. But these are.
But you only need
take advantage.
You play all 4 of them. You only need 2 of them to win to make money.
Yeah.
So easy enough.
Exactly right.
So get on that, and that's on LuxBet. They're offering $700 match deposit. So we'll post the link up when we post our best bets as well. But it's somewhere there on the page. Just have a sift through.
Absolutely. Another sweet promo William Hill has let us know about. They're offering tickets for 4 lads to go down to Melbourne for the AFL Grand Final, 5-star accommodation, tickets to the game, which is actually impossible to get a ticket to the AFL Grand Final unless you buy a package or you're a member.
Yeah, that's right. It's worth $13,000.
Yeah, and all you've got to do
so easy.
is just
take a quiz.
Take a quiz.
It's 10 questions. You get to retake the quiz however many times you want. Tells you what the correct answer is. I did it for myself and the missus, so I've got 2 entries in there. But hop on there. We've got the link on our page, and do that quiz. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can win a $13,000 package. It's gonna be great.
If you win, can I come?
Nope.
Yeah, that's fair. We've also got NFL started up again. We won't speak about Jared Hayne this week. He didn't get too much pill.
Nah.
Certainly not as much pill as some other mates of ours got on the weekend.
Definitely.
But Neddy's given that, great best bets. In fact, all of his... he went 3 out of 4 on his best bets on the weekend. Just missing out on the Seahawks, who actually were in a really close game against the Packers. He knows his stuff. And as, the footy season winds down, you want to get into NFL. You got Hayne, you got superb athletes. It's so good. Get involved, mate, if you already are a fan.
And there's 16 games a weekend.
And there is value to be made. I've already got a couple of good best bets on the NFL for this week. We might post them up.
Ready to go.
And certainly, once the NRL season's over, we're not going to leave you hanging for best bets. We're going to be giving out NFL best bets.
Absolutely.
Tom had North Melbourne, 1 to 39 winners over Sydney last week. Like that
Big
was a
odds
ripper.
cash bet.
Taking the underdog there.
Yep.
He's not afraid of the ugly duckling.
Nope.
That's what we've heard from over in Finland as well.
Yes.
Not that there are many in Finland. I think
You wouldn't think so. The Scandinavians.
Worldies over there.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, but Tom knows his stuff, and he'll have an AFL preview for us as well.
Yep.
And read that in conjunction with the promos. You make an easy money.
Oh, easily. Yep.
Pringle as well, giving out EPL if you like your balls more round.
EPL's
That's
in
an
full
option
swing
for
now,
you.
so he gives out big odds winners sometimes. So it's a good read. So
and he's over in England. He's at EPL journo. So I mean, we've got connections on the pod, international connections.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Tonight's a big night too.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you. Oh, I've got to say congratulations.
Thank
you
you.
tipped the SNES.
Thank
you tipped
you.
the MILF.
Yep.
You tipped this months ago.
Yep.
That she was going to win The Bachelor. Some people are probably rolling their eyes right now, but look, it's the most popular show on Australian TV, whether you want to admit it or not. People are talking about it at the water cooler.
The gayest thing you can do is not watch it.
Yeah, if you think The Bachelor's gay, maybe you're gay.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that. We're
all about equality here.
We certainly are.
You're missing out, really. You're missing out on some great entertainment.
Yeah, now look, so we've got The Bachelorette coming on tonight. I've got to admit, I think it was a few years ago. I was with an ex-girlfriend at the time. We were flicking through the channels, and The Bachelorette, like an American show, was on. And look, I found myself kind of intrigued by it. You've got like one absolute stunner.
Yep.
And then you've got like a room full of guys.
Do you
that
rate
are all...
Sam that much?
Oh,
she's alright. They've made her up to be as
She's-
hot as she can
she
possibly
is a bit of a
be.
bogan.
Yeah.
But look, my thing about The Bachelorette, I prefer to watch The Bachelor because it's a fair bit more eye candy. I think that's fair to say.
Fair.
But look, I'll admit, it is interesting to watch, 15 kind of alpha male guys all jockeying for the attention of one girl. I like kind of watch it and see, can I get any tips off them?
You can't.
I couldn't. Like,
They're all deadbeats.
I've publicly said that I don't think I'd be able to pick up even if I was The Bachelor. So,
True.
I'm not the right
Maybe you
person
should
to
apply
ask.
for next year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. But you'll be
But
watching,
they
obviously.
I'll be watching it tonight,
Yeah.
obviously.
And I'm
She
not
hasn't got a great pick of the litter, to be perfectly honest with you. I've talked to a few girls and they said, look, it's not a good looking batch this year. So they reckon Sam Wood got a lot luckier than Sam Frost with his pick.
Well, I mean, Snez is certainly
Yeah.
a bit of a yummy mummy.
She was the best looking one on there, I reckon.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. Well, I mean, we'll give you a couple of weeks to find your feet,
Yeah,
get your
find
finger
your
right
feet.
and deep on the pulse, and then
Yep.
maybe we'll get you to break down The Bachelorette.
Yeah, definitely.
For the male fans out there that aren't too masculine to
Yeah.
admit that they watch it, and for all the female fans we've got
even
as
the
well.
ones that don't admit it, they watch it.
And it's
If
a
they
funny
don't,
read,
they
even
want
if you
to.
don't. Botha breaks it down, and he leaves no holds barred.
Try not to offend anyone this time. See how we
Well,
go.
we'll see how we go.
Probably
Look, that'll
won't
do it. It's
work.
going to be such a massive weekend of sport. Best of luck with your best bets. We've given out 6 for you.
Yep.
We're on the right side there.
And make sure you listen to the pod the second it comes out. Get the Dropbox app because you don't want to be hanging around till Friday when we post all our best bets. You'll miss out on the value.
Yeah,
So
if you're listening to this
easy.
and it's Monday and we've gone 6-0 and you thought, oh man, I wish I could have heard that last week. Well, you could have.
Yeah.
You got no one to blame but yourself, right?
Clowns.
So get the Dropbox app.
Get the Dropbox app because otherwise you might be listening to this on YouTube and it's already too late.
Yep.
So get it.
That's all we can say. Look.
And
Most importantly, please
please
gamble responsibly.